All right, so something that I have contended with for years is the collapsible stock trap that I find a lot of you guys in. And it's really unfortunate that you guys don't find my videos or find my website before you put your foot. It's like a big bear trap. And it costs you time, it costs you money, and it's no good for you. And hopefully this video will be found by a lot of you and can help sort it out. So I think when people buy a Benelli M4, and they want to have the collapsible stock and they want to have the most positions possible. And Benelli, for the Benelli M4, Benelli OEM recoil tubes that I'm aware of on planet Earth that are made for the shotguns that are sold in America only come in a 1 position and a 3 position. And if you bought a gun where the collapsible stock won't adjust, that means you have a 1 position on your gun and it's in the fully extended position. I've never seen those recoil tubes for sale outside of the gun. I don't know why anybody would buy that tube outside of the gun, but Benelli doesn't feel comfortable selling an actual collapsible stock. There's also some 922R situations with importing it in a collapsible fashion, but I do know that Benelli does a lot of changing around parts on guns when they're here in the United States. So why they don't sell it in a collapsible fashion, I'm not exactly sure. It probably has something to do with 922R. I don't know, and I don't care. I just know that sometimes you can find them in the format where they don't collapse whatsoever. They're in the fully extended position. Sometimes you find them in the format that adjust. Either way, if you've got a 3 position, sometimes a 5 position sounds delightful. It's like, wow, I can have 3 positions, but instead I can have 5. And I know there's other aftermarket part manufacturers out there that sell them in a 5 configuration. We don't. At Freedom Fighter, we have a 1 position, which is fully collapsed. We have a 3 position, which is a copy of Benelli's original tube. And then we have a 6 position. And then Benelli has a 5 position tube. And from what I'm aware of, that is sold in Europe and also on some M3s and on some Supernovas in the United States, both the M3 and the Supernova in the United States. That's my understanding of it. That doesn't mean that that's actually correct, but that's what I think is correct. So where the confusion comes into play is I get calls from people that say, yeah, I want a 5 position tube and I want to know if that one works on your gun or on my gun. And the thing about it is the European stock is different than the Benelli stock, and the European recoil tube that the stock needs to move up and back is different on a European gun and an American gun. When it comes to the Benelli M4, again, they put this stock on some M3s and some Supernovas that are sold in the United States, which I've never seen that actually happen, but I've heard that that's the case. So I try to make it very simple. And if you're confused at this point in the video, I apologize. It really is very simple. Yeah, hey, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to comment below. There's a European stock and there's an American stock for the Benelli M4. The European stock is this stock right here. And I believe it's part number 7. It's either 70132 or 70136. I think it's 70132. And it's got this closed off design. You can't really see the tube underneath it. And the collapsible stock piece underneath it, it's like a solid stock, a solid cheek weld plastic butt stock that fits on the recoil tube that is made to go with this particular stock. This stock will only work with the European tube, and the European tube will only work with this stock, the European stock. The European tube has cuts in it that are different. They're box cuts. They're like 90-degree angles that create these box cuts. And each position has 2 cuts. And each position has 2 cuts. Or each position has, I'm not exactly sure. But if you look at it, it's remarkably different than a Benelli OEM for the American market. The American stock, the aluminum stock piece, is more visible. The cheek piece is not covering the entire stock like it does on the European version. This is the one that's sold on the American version of the Benelli M4. And the only tubes that work on the American version are the ones that are made for the American stock, and they have a rounded cut. The European version has box cuts. These have rounded cuts. that kind of looks like an almond sliver. Like if you've seen an almond sliver, it kind of looks like that's what's been taken out of the side of this tube. Somewhere's a little metal shaving that looks like an almond sliver where they remove that. It's rounded on one side and rounded on the other side. So it's different. The American recoil tube will not work. None of them will work with the European tube, ever. And it's amazing to me the confusion that this brings. People have such a hard time understanding. US tube, US stock. European tube, European stock. There's no mixing and matching beyond that. American stock, you have a lot of choices on the recoil tube. At Freedom Fighter Tactical, there's a one position for those of us who live in blue states and can only have it in one position, and it's at the fully collapsed position. There's the 3 position, which is the copy of the Benelli, and then there's the 6 position that we sell. And there's other manufacturers out there that have a 5 position. And I actually think that the manufacturers out there that do the 5 position, and this isn't a grudge on them, it's just a matter of fact. They make a 5 position, and I think that confuses people. They see the 5 position, say, at some company, you know, in New England, and then they see the 5 position that Benelli makes, and they think they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. The one that the company makes in New England is going to have the American notches, the rounded almond-shaped notches. The one that Benelli makes has the square notches. So unless you're buying an American-made 5 position, you're probably buying a Benelli-made 5 position. And the Benelli-made 5 position only works with this stock. If this isn't the stock on your gun, you cannot use the Benelli 5 position recoil tube, period. If this is the stock you have, it's simply not going to work. So the trap that people find themselves in is they buy the gun with the American stock on it. They go to Cabela's, they go to Bass Pro, wherever they go, the local gun shop in their town, and they get the one with this on the gun, but it has the 1 position tube. They get all excited, they want to get this, and then they run over to Midway or Midwest or Brownells or wherever they have them, because the European recoil tubes don't sell out, because you can't use them. A lot of people know this, but the guys who don't know this get all excited. They buy that tube, it ships to them, and then it doesn't work. They go through all the trouble of putting it on their gun, and then it doesn't work. It won't mate. And so that's the trap I try so hard to keep you guys from falling into that. Look, if this is the stock that you like, and your gun didn't come with this stock, and this is the stock you want, and you want the 5 position tube, you're going to have to buy both pieces. I've never heard of a gun, an M4 at least, come with this stock sold in America off the shelf. I've never heard of that. I know people that have bought this and then got the right tube to go with it and put it on their M4 because they like this stock better. But you can't mix and match. European stock, European tube, American stock, American tube. It's as simple as that. I just don't understand the confusion, but it is something that catches people regularly. And before you buy from me, if you have any confusion whatsoever, because I don't like returns, I don't take returns over mistakes like this. So if you have any sort of confusion whatsoever, call me. The phone number's on the website. You can call me there. It goes to my cell phone. You can text me there. It goes to my cell phone. You can use the little chat blurb on the website. It goes to my cell phone. And you can email me through the contact page on the website, which also goes to my cell phone. And I'm very responsive. So if you find yourself having any confusion about these parts, let's clear it up prior to the sale, because I don't clear things up after the sale. After the sale, you own it. So you can call me, and I'll spend whatever time it takes to help you understand and make the right purchase so that you don't buy the wrong recoil tube, because recoil tubes are expensive. When you pay $400 and you can't return it, no fun. So we want to get it right the first time. You've got the wrong recoil tube, or you've got the recoil tube that's on your gun and you buy the wrong stock. We don't want that to happen to you here at Freedom Fighter Tactical. So I'm here to help you and clear it up, and I imagine this is going to be something that, as long as I run this business, I'm going to be clearing up this confusion. But I'm ready to do it, and I'll help you figure out how to build this properly and spend the least amount of money and get the right parts and do it right the first time. So anyway, that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in.